Wow. Thank you to Wallam Kung Fu and Tai Chi Academy for that wonderful lion dance to open up our groundbreaking ceremony today. Let's give them another round of applause. I am Angie Liu, the Executive Director of the Asian Community Development Corporation, and I want to thank all of you for coming out today to help us celebrate the groundbreaking of 55 Hudson Street, or Parcel R1, as that site has been known for decades. Since 1987, the Asian Community Development Corporation has cultivated vibrant and inclusive communities by building affordable housing and preserving spaces where everyone is welcome to live, work, and play. With roots in Boston's Chinatown and a focus on meeting the needs of low-income and Asian American immigrants, ACDC serves individuals and families of all backgrounds throughout Greater Boston, including Malden and Quincy. ACDC empowers residents to shape their communities and advocate for their interest, and offers programs to guide residents in building wealth and planning for their futures. Today, we are also excited to celebrate receiving the official charter of affiliation with NeighborWorks America, which is a national network of nearly 250 community development organizations across the country. Funding support and peer network from NeighborWorks will strengthen and enhance our capacity to serve more low-income families. Now, thank you. Now, as I look out into the crowd here, I see many longtime Chinatown activists and residents who have fought relentlessly over the years against eminent domain and displacement. And I am proud that ACDC is part of that auspicious history today. 70 years ago, Hudson Street was a vibrant and tight-knit immigrant community. Chinese families working in laundry shops and restaurants lived side by side along Syrian and Lebanese families, and in nice weather, residents would socialize on the stoops. Kids played together in the streets, but don't you think about doing anything naughty, or a neighbor would be sure to tell your parents about it later. Immediately? Yes. During the 1950s and 60s, a series of eminent domain takings by the state and the city tore down many of the row houses on Hudson Street in the name of progress. Homes on Parcel 24, where we're standing on right now, were demolished to make way for the Central Artery Highway, and row houses on Parcel R1 were destroyed as part of the 1965 South Cove Urban Renewal Plan. Hundreds of families were forcibly displaced and had to find new homes elsewhere. During this era, Chinatown also lost its library due to the Central Artery construction, and for the next 60 years, we had no library of our own until a temporary branch was set up in the China Trade Building in 2018. But throughout these decades of adversity, Chinatown has shown tremendous resilience and tenacity for fighting for its survival. If it were not for the organizing and advocacy of longtime activists, some of whom are no longer with us today, we would not have reclaimed these parcels for community uses. Under the leadership of the late Tunny Lee, Parcel R1 was eventually rezoned for residential uses. And from the mid-1970s until 2000, the site was home to The Bubble, a temporary facility for the South Cove YMCA. Despite the housing designation for Parcel R1, during the 1990s, through a land swap agreement, Tufts University gained development rights to the parcel and leased it from the Boston Redevelopment Authority for parking for the next 20 plus years. During this time, gentrification and displacement pressures also began to ramp up in Chinatown as luxury developments drove up rents, resulting in newfound urgency to add new affordable housing to Chinatown. As Parcel R1's lease to Tufts neared expiration in 2017, the Chinese Progressive Association, Chinatown Community Land Trust, and Chinatown Residents Association organized a call for the return of Parcel R1 to the community. These community groups organized with residents and held meetings with Tufts and the city, and Tufts ultimately agreed to relinquish its development rights on the site, thus paving the way for Parcel R1 to be redeveloped into affordable housing and a library. Now, as we begin construction on this land to create 110 affordable homes and a new permanent home for the Chinatown branch of the Boston Public Library, we will fill in the final piece of the puzzle of rebuilding historic Hudson Street. It is thanks to the tenacity of generations of community activists and residents, including many who are present here, that ACDC can develop this project for Chinatown. Of course, we also have a wonderful ecosystem of public and private funders that enable this project to be 100% affordable. These include the city's Boston Mayor's Office of Housing, the State Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, Mass Housing, Massachusetts Housing Partnership, RBC, First Citizens Bank, Eastern Bank, the Life Initiative, and CDAC. I also want to acknowledge our architecture team at Stantec and general contractor Consigli. A special thank you to Peter Munkenbeck, our consultant who has guided this project from its infancy. And the most hardworking real estate team at ACDC, Muge Unamir and Billy Khan. I also want to express my gratitude to ACDC's board for its steadfast support of this project, as well as ACDC's mission of investing in Asian American and low-income communities. Now, I have the honor of introducing our indomitable Mayor Michelle Wu.
Please give the incredible Angie Liu another round of applause. Thank you, Angie, for all of your leadership and all that you've done for the various parts of our community. What an amazing celebration today, a feat of creativity and hard work and collaboration. And I hope that history will look back on us and we can all remember where we were at the official start of the groundbreaking for what is going to be a model project, not just in Boston and for the generations to come, but around the country. This is a city where the brains, the talent, the determination to make sure our community has what it needs results in truly remarkable partnerships and projects. So thank you to Angie, thank you to everyone at ACDC for always planting the seeds of community everywhere possible in this neighborhood and throughout the region. And thank you to all of my colleagues in government who are here today. I'm honored to be here alongside the Secretary of Housing Livable Communities, Secretary Ed Augustus, Chair of the House Ways and Means Committee, Chair Aaron Michaelwitz, City Councilor Ed Flynn, who I'm not sure why Councilor Flynn is over there instead of up here. He's very politely letting others sit, as well as my colleagues from the city, President David Leonard of the Boston Public Library, the oldest public library system in the country, our Chief of Housing, Sheila Dillon, our Chief of Operations, Dion Irish, who's also here alongside Facilities Director Carlton Jones, our Chief of Planning, Kairos Shen, who knows this neighborhood well, alongside every neighborhood, and to everyone who has had a role in this on all of the teams that I just recognized across the city. Thank you for your diligent work over so many years to support the community and partner with all the groups that we've mentioned. Thank you to all of the funders who've been involved, all of the community leaders, all of the organizations, and the many, many, many residents who spoke up and never gave up. That community also included 50 second graders from the Young Achiever School in Mattapan. 11 years ago, when I was serving on the city council, in my very first year on the council, they marched from the Chinatown gate to City Hall to make sure that their elected officials would hear the call. The students chanted, "We want justice, we want it now." And one student spoke and said, "If you read to your child for an hour every night, by the time your child is 5 years old, you will have read 900 hours to them." And another student, who is a child of immigrants from Haiti, wrote in the pamphlet that he was distributing to all of the elected officials, "Even though Chinatown is in Boston, they still don't have a library. People should go and tell the mayor to build a library for Chinatown." Their signs said, "Kids want books, Chinatown Library now." Not all of them had been from Chinatown, or most of them weren't. Maybe not all of them had even visited Chinatown. But as kids growing up in our community, they felt the injustice and the hole that was wide open for another part of the neighborhood, another part of the community, and the kids who were living there. They had just heard the story, and they knew that they needed to take action. As you heard from Angie, it was several decades that this community faced that gaping hole. When the Chinatown branch of the Boston Public Library was demolished to make room for a highway, that was to prioritize the convenience of commuters coming in from outside Boston over the well-being and needs of our residents here in our city and the vibrancy of this community. And for the nearly 60 years since then, the people of Chinatown have had to go without a permanent library branch. Several decades without a place for parents to bring their children for story time, without a place for students to discover new worlds right within a walking distance of their home, without a place for seniors to connect, whether reading a book club or just to gather for the news and the gossip of the day. Today, we get to change all of that. Residents from Chinatown and all over the city have been pushing for this for so many years. From the Chinese Youth Initiative to the Friends of the Chinatown Library, our students, young people, families, and residents use their voices and their advocacy to make it a reality. So on behalf of the City of Boston, I want to make it clear. The people of Chinatown should never have been made to take a backseat to a highway. Chinatown has always deserved a permanent library branch. And today, after all these decades, we are finally taking the steps to make that real. Thank you to so many community members. Thank you to everyone involved to help us break ground on not only a remarkable affordable housing project that will anchor our families, but also Chinatown's first permanent Boston Public Library branch in more than a generation. Because for us to truly be a home for everyone, our city and all of our resources need to be available and accessible to all. 55 Hudson will be the first of its kind in our city. 2 of the 12 floors will house the state-of-the-art library branch, and above 110 new units of affordable housing, 44 homeownership opportunities, 66 rental units. We are using every resource possible to make sure that Boston rises to the challenge of this moment, returning the long overdue branch library to Chinatown while also tackling the region's housing crisis. We're also trying to do the same everywhere around the city that we possibly can outside Chinatown too. The upcoming renovations of the Upham's Corner and West End branch libraries will also include new resources for community and housing wherever possible. Thank you again to the leadership of ACDC and to our Chinatown residents and community who took an inspiring idea and turned it into an inspiring reality, a place where the residents and families of Chinatown will dig their roots even deeper. And to the staff of the current temporary library in the China Trade Center on Boylston, to Yan, Morgan, Mandy, Zhong, and Ivan, thank you so much. Thank you for your work, bridging this gap, making sure the people of Chinatown still have had access to a space that is free to all in our libraries. We are so proud to finally break ground on this amazing project to create more housing and to fill in a hole that's been needed for a very long time in our community. And now it is my honor to pass it on to Secretary Ed Augustus.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to really acknowledge and appreciate the Mayor, her team, Sheila Dillon, and all the folks in the City of Boston for their partnership with us as we try to work in the Healey-Driscoll administration to address the housing crisis that's not only here in the City of Boston, but is across the Commonwealth. But you need local partners who understand and prioritize housing in order to make projects like this a reality. Many times we have communities that are fighting against creating housing opportunities. Here in the City of Boston, they fully embrace using every tool in the toolbox to create more opportunities because we know gentrification is real. We know housing insecurity is real. We know an increase in homelessness is real. And the only answer to all of those questions is more housing. And this project today is a step in that direction. So I'm very proud on behalf of Governor Healey and Lieutenant Governor Driscoll to say that the Commonwealth of Massachusetts is committing $11.5 million to this project to make it a reality. And I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Chairman Michaelwitz, because none of those resources would be available if it weren't for his leadership and that of his colleagues in the legislature, providing tax credits, providing subsidies, and the new tools that were in the Affordable Homes Act that are making groundbreakings like this possible all over Boston and all over Massachusetts. So on behalf of the governor and our whole team, I want to thank Angie. Angie is not only a leader here in this neighborhood, but she's really a leader for CDCs across Massachusetts. I meet with her and CDCs on a quarterly basis, and Angie's always got new ideas. She's always advocating and pushing and prodding and asking for a little bit more and doing her job, really pushing us all to think more creatively and bring more resources to the table. So to Angie and the whole staff, the board of the Asian CDC, well done. Congratulations, everyone. And again, it's my honor to introduce the chairman of the Committee on Ways and Means in the House of Representatives, your state representative, and a great champion of housing, Aaron Michaelwitz.
I got to move that down a little bit after speaking after the secretary. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you to the administration for your commitment to building affordable housing across the Commonwealth, but particularly here in Boston. And we're very happy with doing the housing bond bill that we did last year with your leadership and with the governor's leadership, working with my colleagues in the legislature and in the Senate, and having opportunities like this to be a part of it is very special. I've been, I'm gonna take the moment here and say I'm the senior member of the elected group in Chinatown with my dear colleague, the councilor, and the mayor, and so we've seen over the last couple of years in particular a real focus and a real impact here of trying to make sure we create affordability here in the city. And we are taking a giant step, another giant step today by doing this with 110 units. But we still have a lot of work to do, and we still have a long way to go. But it is Chinatown that has, as a community, been the first to step up. I think out of any other community in the city of Boston, it's been Chinatown that has been the one that has said, build the affordability here. We want to take it on. We want to make sure we keep our residents here. And I want to thank the Chinatown community for doing that, for being the leaders across this city and across the state. All the advocates that are involved. It is special to work with you all, and I really do appreciate it. And I'm very, very happy and excited, being that senior member, to be welcoming the groundbreaking of a new library. I've seen this conversation for quite some time. We have dealt with it in a lot of different places. We've had a lot of different options, a whole host of places around Chinatown, and obviously we had the temporary one over at the Chinatown at the China Trade Center. But to finally build a brand new, sparkling new library that this neighborhood deserves, this neighborhood has worked for, and this neighborhood has earned in their advocacy for it over the years is truly remarkable. And it's a couple of reasons why. First is the advocacy. Again, the continued never say die attitude of those that live in this neighborhood and that work in this neighborhood. Those that never wanted to give up when sometimes at certain points it may have seemed a little bit hopeless about where we were going to put this library. I want to thank you all for doing that, for continuing. Number two is having the smarts and the intelligence of ACDC and particularly Angie to kind of put this project, to be the ones that put this whole project together and to make it work. We're proud of where we're standing right now, being parcel 24, but we also are proud that we're going to have the library here across the street. And then lastly, it's the political will. And I want to give the mayor a lot of credit for her focus and her determination on making sure that this became a reality. As I said before, this conversation has been around a long time. But it's Mayor Michelle Wu that made this happen and get this to the final stages to make sure that we got this done. So, Mayor, thank you. We've had a pretty good month so far. I'm looking forward to the remainder of the month with you. But this is a big step for the city. This is a big step for Chinatown, and I'm very proud to be here today. So, thank you very much. And it is with my honor to turn the baton over to the Boston Public Library President, David Leonard.
Good morning. This is truly a historic day. Each of our speeches contains threads of the history that has brought us to this moment. The library's relationship with Chinatown starts actually in earnest in 1896. It is one of the first, earliest branch locations in the city, the first to be led by a woman, a giant of the BPL's history, librarian Fanny Goldstein. But as we've heard, since 1956, and even as early as 1938, the library in this community have been on a journey, a strained journey at times. And the neighborhood, although well served by neighboring locations, other branches, has indeed been without a permanent branch location for well over 60 years. And today we finally break ground on the answer to this gap in community service. And yes, as we have heard, I will re-echo my thanks to the community, to generations of advocates, that we are finally here today. Library service in this neighborhood has journeyed through bookmobiles, reading rooms, pop-up libraries, storefront libraries, and of course our current temporary branch, now in service for already 7 years. Hard to believe that 7 years ago, we stood outside the China Trade Center building, cutting a ribbon, already one of the most well-attended branch ribbon cuttings in the library's recent history. I bet we'll do that again in several months or a bit longer right across the street. This appetite for library services was proven to us and proven to the city. I want to single out the Chinese Youth Initiative and the Friends of the Chinatown Library. You kept the dream alive. Even when we ourselves were not sure of the importance of physical branch libraries in our city, you kept that dream alive. And now you draw not just from this neighborhood, but from this regional Chinatown, Chinese-American diaspora that spans Wakefield and Lexington and Quincy and Malden and Newton and more. It's a symbol to the whole community. Yes, our project, and I will confidently say our project, had many near misses along the way. But yes, with support from elected officials across more than one administration, we navigated a refreshed programming study with the community in 2011, joined forces with the Mayor's Office of Housing, thank you Sheila, and team. And today, on the project on this side across the street is led across the finish line by Asian Community Development Corporation, a host of partners, funders, and supporters, and especially our Mayor Michelle Wu and our City of Boston colleagues. Now, Deep concerns about displacement, gentrification, and affordability have driven the desire to see investment in preserving Chinatown. The defense against these forces starts with home. Homes that are affordable, and with that broader sense of home in a neighborhood built around civic infrastructure such as libraries. These are all about making the mayor's vision of Boston as a home for everyone a reality. So, I want to thank every resident, every advocate, every parent, every child, every elder for showing up, for speaking up, and for believing that this branch should and would come back. Families who live here will not only have affordable homes, they will also have a library just steps away, a place for children to learn, for elders to connect, for workers and students to find opportunity, and to do so in community together. Pairing housing with public assets, such as a library space, means we are building neighborhoods that are grounded in the cultures and institutions that make Boston and its neighborhoods unique. We love our firsts in Boston. This will be our first new library as part of the Housing with Public Assets program, and with a new Upham's Corner and West End branch to follow also. So thank you to the City of Boston, to the Boston Planning Department, to Asian CDC, to our other city and BPL colleagues. Too many to name today. I promise I will do that at a later date. All of whom have ensured that design, planning, affordability, culture all stay front and center. We are now on solid ground, literally as shovels will break the earth, although construction firms already gotten started on that. A permanent Chinatown branch. This is not just a building, it is a promise kept and an act of reparation. Thank you for being part of making this promise real. I cannot wait to walk through its doors with you when it opens. Together, we will build a place where we can fully live up to what our strategic plan at the library calls us to be: a welcoming destination, a place of community engagement, a trusted resource, and yes, a place of lifelong learning, research, and the preservation of cultural history. Thank you all. Let the building continue. And next up, Fiona Xu for Citizens Bank. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Fiona Xu, and I am the Executive Director and Head of Community Development Finance for First Citizens Bank. It is truly an honor to be with all of you today to celebrate the grand opening, the groundbreaking of 55 Hudson. We are so thrilled to have played a role in this impactful project and thankful to Asian CDC for selecting us as your trusted partner. Our group is focused on lending to and investing in affordable housing developments just like this one all across the country. And 55 Hudson sets a new bar for complexity, innovation, and impact. Our Boston team has financed affordable rental and affordable home ownership projects in the past, but this is our first library. This project is a perfect example of why we love working with community-based sponsors such as ACDC. They've been doing work in Chinatown since 1987, which gives them a deep understanding of the neighborhood's needs and positions them well to serve its longtime and newly arriving residents. We are excited to support ACDC's work. The bank has provided this organization with grants for 20 years and also financed previous projects such as One Greenway and Tremont Village. We're thankful for the partnership and look forward to continuing it in the future. While First Citizens is may be a new name in Boston, we are a bank with a 125-year legacy, and we are building on the strong foundation in this community laid by our local predecessors, Boston Private and Silicon Valley Bank. At First Citizens, our vision is to provide financial security that grows with the greatest ambitions of our clients, colleagues, and communities. We commit to being a strong partner during the next critical construction phase so that 55 Hudson may be manifested as one of the greatest ambitions of this community. I'd also like to thank our construction participants, Eastern Bank and the Life Initiative, who were a pleasure to work with as always, our public and quasi-public partners, EOHLC, MOH, Mass Housing, and MHP. I have yet to find a state that supports affordable housing development as deeply and thoughtfully as Massachusetts. And lastly, I'd like to thank First Citizens Deal Team, led by Peter Hollins, Brendan Betez, and Florence Lee. Thank you again, ACDC, and to all of the partners for your commitment and partnership in advancing this important work. Thank you. And next up, your speaker is Mark Teeden from Mass Housing.
Thank you, Fiona. And Angie, thank you and congratulations to both you, your organization, and your external teams. This is our third deal with you, and we hope to continue that relationship as we share our mission to provide affordable housing and confront the housing challenges facing the Commonwealth. It's a little bit intimidating for me to be up here right now because the work of Mass Housing does not come into a deal until, if it was a clock, about 11 o'clock. And we've heard all about the history here. And so we're very, very mindful that what we do has meaning, but it has no meaning unless a lot of other people do a lot of other things. So I just want to salute again the whole history that we have heard from advocates, rectifying decisions from the past. As I said, it's actually quite intimidating for me to be standing here right now representing an agency that is coming into this so late. So, Angie, I just want to acknowledge how much work has gone in, not only by you and your organization, but by so many. To say this deal is complicated is a vast understatement. It seems standard nowadays, some 20 sources, I think closer to 25 in this deal of capital, federal, state, city sources, public, private. In addition, as we've heard, this deal creatively combines home ownership opportunities with affordable rental homes and a terrific city amenity in the library. Factor in a ground lease, 3 separate ownership entities, one of which is now subdivided into 44 individual entities, and you have a complex tangle of interests. But Angie, with your persistence and your vision, the world oriented around this deal, and we are here celebrating something magnificent today. And again, congratulations. Always at these events, I'm compelled to acknowledge the Mass Housing staff who work so hard in the execution of our mission. But in this instance, because this development embodies or takes on 2 very different programs of the agency, our longstanding tax credit work and our more recent home ownership, affordable home ownership subsidy program, the range of agency staff involved was far more extensive than typical, with groups of people who rarely work together actually coming together, and we knit together a brand new team to help accomplish this. I was actually going to read all their names, but we've been here a while. The list is long, and as I had indicated before, the real heroes of today are the people who really provided the work in the past. So Angie, with that, I would just say congratulations again. We offer our sincere congratulations to you, your staff, your board, and everybody that worked with you to bring to fruition this day and the idea of this day. Thank you. With that, I'm very pleased to introduce a longstanding affordable housing colleague, Roberta Rubin.
Thank you, Mark. I'm Roberta Rubin. I'm the Director of Housing Development and Preservation at CDAC. We provide pre-development and acquisition assistance to nonprofits. So we joined the journey kind of early in the process. I'm speaking on behalf of our Executive Director, Ethan Handelman, who unfortunately was out of state today, but sends his congratulations and wishes he could be here in person. This is such a great day for Asian CDC, the City of Boston, and the Chinatown community. The location of this development, as Angie was describing, is especially significant given the history of Chinatown and the destruction of homes and businesses by the Mass Pike and the Central Artery in the 50s and 60s. As we stand within a stone's throw of these highways, it is wonderful to celebrate new development that will provide affordable housing to 110 families and this wonderful brand new public library to serve community residents. It is a true testament to the resilience and determination of this community that it has survived with enduring community and cultural institutions despite physical destruction from the highways and more recent threats from gentrification and development. ACDC has been key to assuring that this historic neighborhood continues to survive and flourish with affordable housing for residents of all incomes and a new, very important public institution, the BPL branch. This site had been identified by Asian CDC and neighborhood residents as a primary location for affordable housing a long time ago, in addition to the advocacy for the branch library for so many years. And as others have said, it will serve a wide range of community needs with both rental and home ownership housing, affordability for households with incomes all the way from 30% of area median up to 100%, and all the amenities and resources of the beautiful new library. It also reflects a public commitment to environmental justice with a highly energy efficient design that will meet LEED Gold design standards. Affordable housing development is very complicated, and it can take a long time to assemble all the necessary financing, even for a simple, small project. It's harder to do a high-rise development in a high-traffic location. It's harder still to plan and finance a project that includes both rental and homeownership units, and truly daunting to do homeownership, rental, and the design and construction of a public library in a single project. I can't begin to say how impressive it is that ACDC was able to move from responding to the BPDA's request for proposals in 2021 to shovels in the ground within 4 years. So huge kudos to Angie, Muge, and the whole ACDC team. CDAC is proud to have supported this project with a total of $2 million in pre-development financing, beginning with an initial loan of $450,000 back in 2022. I want to acknowledge especially the hard work of my colleague, Madeline Nash. Madeline, please wave. And just want to offer my congratulations again to Asian CDC and the Chinatown community on this special day. And with that, I'll pass the baton to Alma Balanin-Rosen of MHP. Thank you.
Hi, oops, make it slower. Hi, good afternoon. I'm Alma Balanin-Rosen, Senior Relationship Manager with the Massachusetts Housing Partnership. I'm here representing our Executive Director, Clark Ziegler, who is at the legislature testifying to try to get more money for affordable housing. So this is where I am. So thank you to Angie and the Asian Community Development Corporation for having MHP here at the groundbreaking of Parcel R1, 55 Hudson Street. The ceremony marks the formal beginning of an incredible development, years in the making, that will help preserve the rich cultural identity of Boston's Chinatown. Congratulations to Asian CDC, Mayor Wu and her team, Representative Mickelwitz, HLC Secretary Augustus, and all of our other financing partners and project team members. Through the decades, as you've heard, Chinatown has been impacted by real estate speculation and gentrification. These forces have resulted in the neighborhood becoming unaffordable, with many longtime Chinatown families being displaced from the community they helped build. The Asian population of Chinatown has declined from being 69% Asian in 2000 to 56% Asian 20 years later in 2020. I also want to commend Asian CDC for developing a platform of stability for the 110 families who will be calling the site home, and for the creativity in working with the community to work to provide a permanent home for the Chinatown Library, something that, as you've heard, has been missing for decades. This, combined with the arts and youth programming that Asian CDC does, builds on their strategy of placemaking in terms of their approach to community development. By developing 66 affordable rental opportunities and 44 home ownership options, Asian CDC has laid the foundation for long-term opportunity, ensuring that future generations continue to live, grow, and thrive in Chinatown. Everyone deserves a home that is affordable, close to transit, healthcare, fresh foods, arts, and culture in an amenity-rich neighborhood. MHP is pleased to be the permanent lender on the 66-unit rental component of 55 Hudson. We're providing an $8.4 million loan and administering a $1 million transit-oriented development grant. This is our third loan with Asian CDC, and we are thrilled to be working with you. A special shout out to Mujay and Billy on the Asian CDC staff who have project managed this development so skillfully. And I also want to acknowledge my colleague David Hannafin, and give a wave wherever you are, who worked on this complicated financing structure. I want to leave you all with a thought about the 66 families who will be living in the affordable rental component of the development that MHP will be financing. In Chinese culture, I learned that 66 means double prosperity and symbolizes abundance and continuous success. That is what I wish for all of the future residents and library users of 55 Hudson, and for you all here today. Thank you. And it's my pleasure now to introduce Lindsay Shen with Friends of the Chinatown Library.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Lindsay, and I'm currently the secretary for the Friends of the Chinatown Library, or FOCL. As multiple speakers before me have said, including Angie, Mayor Wu, Chairman Mikowitz, and also David Leonard, it's been a long time since Chinatown has had a library. And I wanted to thank all of you for acknowledging the history of the Chinatown Library, and also for acknowledging all of the effort that the community has put in to bringing the library back to Chinatown. I believe that it's still important to talk about history and share history, no matter how many times it's been stated. So I'm going to start by also resharing and reiterating the history of the Chinatown Library and the Chinatown Library campaign. So a lot of you are probably familiar by now, after hearing multiple times today about the history of the library, but the Chinatown Library was first demolished in the 1950s to make way for the I-90 highway, which actually is running right behind us. It's been over 60 years since Chinatown has had a permanent library branch. For several decades, multiple community members of all ages, a lot of whom are present today, fought to bring library services back to the community. And I wanted to acknowledge their efforts too, both as someone who has been part of these efforts and someone who continues to advocate for the Chinatown Library. These efforts over the years included things such as writing letters, creating pop-up library spaces, sending postcards, lobbying political officials. My own connection to the Chinatown Library extends beyond me being the secretary of the Friends of the Chinatown Library. My connection to the Chinatown Library actually began about 10 years ago as one of the Chinese Progressive Association's CYI youth. Something that might surprise you is that CYI has actually been advocating for the Chinatown Library since 1997, which was long before I've been involved with CYI. As a CYI youth, I collected petition signatures and postcards. I hosted in-person events for residents of all ages and met with city officials and the BPL to advocate for the return of permanent library services to Chinatown. After decades of advocacy by CYI and FOCL, we're thrilled to finally see the temporary BPL Chinatown Library space open in 2018. While the end goal of the Chinatown Library campaign was always for Chinatown to have its own permanent library, once again, after over 60 years, I never imagined that I would see it happen as a result of work that I was part of. And I'm so proud of everything that we've done to bring permanent library services back to Chinatown. Though our advocacy for the Chinatown Library has shifted its focus with the opening of the temporary library space, Focal continues to maintain communication between BPL and the community by gathering community input for the permanent library design and raising awareness about library services within the Chinatown community. I'm honored to continue to be part of the Chinatown Library efforts, and I can't wait for us to meet here again when the permanent library branch is open. Thank you all for your time. And now I'm honored to introduce Joni Straussman.
And I know I stand between you and getting on with the rest of your day, so I'll try to be brief. I'm Joni Straussman Brandon. I'm the Regional Vice President of the Northeast Region for NeighborWorks America, and it is such a pleasure to be here to celebrate not only the groundbreaking of this amazing development that you've all been hearing about, but also to celebrate the chartering, the official chartering of Asian CDC as one of the newest affiliate within the NeighborWorks network. So we're thrilled to do that here today, to have this opportunity. It's an absolute honor to be here with so many distinguished speakers, the mayor, the secretary, the representative, Alma, who I've known for years. It's great to see everybody. And I'm also joined by Michael Williams, who's here somewhere. Michael, there he is. Michael is a senior relationship manager with NeighborWorks America and will be working very closely with ACDC and supporting them as they become a new member of the network. On behalf of all of us at NeighborWorks America, I congratulate ACDC for this development that brings much needed affordable housing to Boston that we keep hearing about. NeighborWorks America believes that every person deserves a safe and affordable place to live in a safe and thriving and healthy community, a place where they can live, work, learn, and play. And this is the opportunity that ACDC does right here in Boston and surrounding areas. For those of you who may not know, NeighborWorks America is a congressionally chartered, congressionally funded nonprofit with the mission of helping people live in affordable homes, improve their lives, and strengthen their communities. Here in Massachusetts, we thank Senators Warren and Markey and all of the congressmen and women for their continued support of NeighborWorks America. Without their support and their approval of appropriation, we could not do this great work and have organizations like ACDC in our network. The federal investment that they authorize leverages taxpayer dollars by a ratio of $72 to 1 nationally. That was in 2024. So for every dollar that NeighborWorks provided to our organizations across the country, that leveraged $72. But here in Massachusetts, and I love Massachusetts, I used to live in Massachusetts, and it's very near and dear to me. That actual ratio is $152 to 1. Yes, that deserves an applause. We have 13 NeighborWorks organizations here in Massachusetts, and every dollar we provide creates $152 in investment. This year, we were able to provide ACDC with appropriated funds of $313,500, and we're very confident that that will be leveraged multifold this year. In addition to financial support, we provide training, technical assistance, and assist organizations in measuring their impact in their communities. To become a chartered member of NeighborWorks, I think as Angie can attest to, is not an easy feat. It takes a lot. Each organization participates in a rigorous assessment to become chartered as a NeighborWorks organization. We assess if the organization has local support, breadth of vision, potential for production, and commitment to serve a population in need. We also require, and this is a very important requirement of NeighborWorks America, that an organization has a lot of resident participation on their boards, participations in their organizations, and certainly, as every speaker before me has spoken, and given what this development represents, there has certainly been tremendous resident support. And so I, like everybody else has been saying, thank you, residents. Thank you for speaking up and making this happen. As we got to know ACD over the past year, we've been extremely impressed by the dedication of their staff, of the board, and their commitment to investing in people and the communities we call home. ACD's commitment to the creation and preservation of affordable and vibrant neighborhoods is clearly evident through the greater Boston area and with this new development that we're celebrating today. So today we're gathered to celebrate Asian CDC for their excellence and applaud you on today's groundbreaking. So without further ado, I also want to thank the City of Boston, the State of Massachusetts, and all of ACDC's partners for making this happen. So without further delay, NeighborWorks America is honored to present Asian Community Development Corporation with the Chartered Member Certificate, which is somewhere here. Thank you. On the 17th day of September, which also happens to be my son's birthday. I'll just put it out there. And we're just so delighted and so thrilled to have ACDC in our NeighborWorks network.
Thank you, Joni, for this honor of becoming a chartered member of NeighborWorks America. Before we wrap up the program, I also just want to give a special thank you to State Senator Nick Collins, who's able to come by. Thank you for your support in representing Chinatown and fighting for our residents. And also, I don't know if she's still here, State Rep Erica Eiterhoven. Again, also thank you very much for your support of the Asian community. So thank you, everybody.
That's great. Happy groundbreaking.